So we just had a brand new episode of AEW Dynamite, so we must talk about it. And yes, the discourse I saw online, which I always like to try and jump into as best as possible to kind of give these videos a bit of a unique twist, is that maybe AEW Dynamite, I suppose Collision 2, is a little bit too jokey, a little bit too serious at the moment. If you've watched any of my content before, you probably know what I am going to say. But I do think there's a conversation there, and I would like to have that chat. And also, I just want to thank you for joining me as well. Please do hit that subscribe button as we try to get YouTube out of this dumpster fire it's currently in. Every day I wake up with a little bit more fit in my heart, but that is okay. I know the videos are being edited a little bit differently at the moment. You're just going to have to go with it very, very sadly. Wouldn't be my choice, but we go with the machine. Otherwise, here's my thoughts on a very interesting topic, and AEW being a bit silly. I can only presume in relation to last night's episode, there were 3 moments, maybe more as we talk about it, it may pop into my head, where yes, AEW decided we're going to have some fun. I'll lay out my staple straight away. I think wrestling should have more fun, right? Given the craziness that we live in 2025. When I tune into any show, Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, Collision, Impact, Ring of Honor, TNA, I should say, I need some lightheartedness. I need some love. I just want to have a smile on my face. So again, when I am locked away in my magical sports entertainment world, I don't have to worry about the problems that may be existing around the globe. The first one that came to mind, and it did come in the middle of a serious segment, but I think there's a problem with that. I think if the major percentage is, oh man, I'm going to whoop your ass, then why not make a joke? And it was, of course, when Hangman Adam Page and Kyle Fletcher were there doing their promo off. That is going to be the main event, I presume, All Out, at least the world title's on the line. And Hangman said, listen, you have all the potential in the world, you can't even put socks on, because Carl was out there just wearing loafers, I suppose, and decided, well, either 1, he had no socks on, or 2, he was wearing sports socks and we couldn't see them. There's a whole conspiracy there. But it made me smile. I thought that was a nice thing to do. And I would also presume it was probably an audible that Hangman Adam Page called. I doubt they would have planned that in the back, but they may have done. We never know. Then, of course, later on, you had the Harley Cameron song. She walked in and sang a tune to Willow Nightingale, trying to explain why she should forgive Chris Statlander, with the ultimate joy being that maybe Chris will paint a cat on her face. Now, Willow was the best, because she's so like, I do like the idea of having a cat paint on my face, but not by her. And listen, I think Chris Statlander should turn heel properly. I know we had that wishy-washy one a year or so ago, whenever it was, but I would put her in the Death Riders, especially because Daniel Garcia joined, and then I would put Willow and Harley together, and I would put Chris with somebody else. Marina Shafir, of course, because that works, as Willow Nightingale also talked about punching Marina in the face, and they've been feuding for ages. I like that. And I think if you can have some fun before the big turn, before the big, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, and you have somebody like one Harley Cameron who can do this with ease. But Willow Nightingale, that's her character. She's so much more fun. Of course, she would then have fun with it. So I don't have a problem with that at all. And then I can only imagine the third one is the Young Bucks stuff, which is some of my favorite stuff they do every single week. And it's a fall from grace. They're being humiliated. Like, they do get put in. There's too many of these let's win some money on AEW shows. There's already another one for Saturday, but it's one of those things where Tony Khan is pushing it so hard, it's starting to make me laugh. So I can't hate it entirely. But the Young Bucks get put into this match where they can win $500,000. They're talking about gambling and eating nice food. Then the Dark Order tell them to flub off. Even Brandon Cutler, their old buddy, says, now I'm done with you. Before John Moxley comes in with the seriousness, listen, we've got a match later. I need the old Young Bucks, I need the old Stone Cold. But I just think that's been the Young Bucks shtick since day one. They've always been a bit goofy. I did a list for What Culture Wrestling. Make sure you check them out. I freelance for them. My Dynamite review should be up now. And please do subscribe to me as well. Where I did my top, I think it was top 12 goofy wrestlers ever. And I put the Young Bucks in it because I just think they're hilarious. I think they know that too. Like, there was some dialogue that maybe they'd lost themselves in 2024, which is why I think now they've gone back to, at least on this episode of Dynamite and with the other ones preceding it, coming out to their real names. And again, the $20 meet and greets, the stupid music, like the gummy bears instead of thumbtacks at Forbidden Door. They are cut angle to me. And I think a lot of goofy wrestlers who do make it to the top of my goofy wrestling list kind of get to do this. They know how good they are in matches, or at least they know their style that they bring to the table, and they rarely miss. So we can have a bunch of fun with this outside the ring. I know what everyone's going to do. Simon the ratings. Of course, yes, I understand that you could argue maybe if AEW Dynamite changed direction, the numbers would go up. But we don't know that for sure. There's no evidence to suggest that, because AEW has been plenty serious in the past and it hasn't exploded. And it's been plenty goofier in the past and it hasn't exploded either. But I just don't want to walk down that path anymore. I am not trying to talk here for an entire user base. I'm certainly not trying to talk to you. In fact, I'd love to engage you in conversation. You can drop me a comment down there. I'm only talking about it from what I want when I sit sit down on a Wednesday night or very early on Thursday morning over here to watch Dynamite, and ultimately it's just a smile. And those three segments that I talked about, I thought were great. It made me like Harley Cameron more, which must have been the idea, surely. I get the Young Bucks are meant to be heels, but they're bare as goofy heels anyway. So why try and act like they're big tough guys when they're not? I just thought Hangman Adam Page saying that made him look like a great world champion. You know, I'm not going to back down. I'll take my shots. I'll call my audibles. You know, I'm the man. And we've seen him do this before, especially the CM Punk one, which started a revolution, you could say, or a devolution, depending on how you see it. But the cool thing about AEW, and I'm not saying that WWE isn't doing this. I cannot stand that rhetoric anymore. I say AEW does this, and the first comment back is, well, WWE. I'm not talking about WWE right now, okay? But one of the things I like about AEW, as I get mad for no reason, is it does feel like it's a very creative place, and you can sort of come up with ideas, and especially when it comes to promos, there isn't any scripting. Of course, sometimes that doesn't work out as well. I don't want that ever to go away. And I mean that from all of pro wrestling. I think it should almost be like a stand-up comedy or a hip-hop battle, or you call it a rap battle, I suppose, where you can say something to me and I can say something to you. You know, who's wittier? Who's quicker on their feet? What kind of stuff is your brain going to throw out there? And again, in all these instances, it made me connect, to use dumb language, close to the characters. And then, sure, you can say, Simon, you're meant to be close to the Young Bucks, but I don't care. I think they're brilliant. I like the finish of that big old tag team match as well. That tag team match was fantastic. Was it 8-man, 10-man, whatever the flub it was, for $500,000? It doesn't have to be for you, as I always say. The timing, the ring awareness, the speed, knowing when to go fast, knowing when to go slow, the hot tag, all of that stuff. It was so good, and I like the fact the Young Bucks pinned Brodido, Bandabobo, because now I suppose All Out will be the Young Bucks versus Brodido, and I'm not entirely against the Young Bucks winning it back, as long as we have a bigger plan for the tag team titles going forward. And then, of course, afterwards, we should talk about some serious stuff, because there was a big serious angle on here. You know, Darby Allin comes to the ring to try and stop the Death Riders beating everybody up, and it's Daniel Garcia in a hood. Now, let's all put our hoods up. If you're wearing a hood now, let's join in. This is what you have to do now. Even Becky Lynch did it. The Becky Lynch one was ridiculous in hindsight because we know she's aligned with Seth Rollins. It didn't need to be a surprise. She debuted in, 2014, whatever the flub. I think we should probably put that to one side. I think we need a brand new idea. And listen, WWE has done it way more than AEW, but it does become a whole wrestling thing. That aside, it doesn't really matter. That's a tangent. But yeah, Daniel Garcia comes out, reveals his hood, or takes his hood off. He's finally joined the Death Riders, or so we presume. He hasn't said anything. He stomps Darby's head into the chair. He misses, so he does it again. Not got a problem with that. Makes no difference. When we edit it, that will magically vanish, as happens all the time in pro wrestling. And then Darby Allin gets beaten up so badly by John Moxley, even Marina Shafir pulled him off, which I like too. Just a big fan of adding to the Death Riders after they lost their world championship. Because, of course, usually in wrestling, you get to a WrestleMania type event, which is what All In is starting to feel like, and then you change tack. But no, John Moxley has said this in promos, you know, that the goal wasn't to be champion. The goal is to make everybody else raise their game. So Daniel Garcia, you're next on my list. He had those two matches. John Moxley beat him twice. So he does have due course for this, or just reason, I should say. He wants to win matches, and that wasn't happening as a good guy. Ipso facto, he goes on a heel run. He has to start winning matches. And I'm actually going to go against my own sort of booking here. It should be distraction, interference, confusion, don't care. But if you become a bad guy and then you aren't successful, you look like an idiot. The last thing Daniel Garcia right now is to sort of get rid of all the fun stuff he had. I know he hasn't been doing the dancing for a while, but he should draw a line under that and just win. Thank goodness I joined the Death Riders, maybe even become a champion again, and we go from there. So I like that. I thought that was good. I'm terrified about the Darby Allin John Moxley match at All Out because it's a coffin match. Oh my gosh. Don't forget I'm going to be in Canada that week as well, so come to Smash Wrestling, come to C4, come to Mystery Wrestling. I'll be at all of those, and come say hello All Out if you are there. I'll just be chilling out watching it. Thank you very much for the invite to that too. But yes, good stuff, and hopefully Daniel Garcia has a match at the pay-per-view. Who would that be against though? Because he just smashed Darby Allin. Who's he friends with? I don't know. Bryan Danielson was on commentary as well. Superb. Great commentator. That's now a full-time position, as it should be. And the rest, everything else we did was awesome. Josh Alexander versus Hangman Adam Page. Brilliant match, of course it was. Does tie into the Cole Fletcher thing because he's part of the Don Callis family. I think it's a stip. I don't think it's made official that the Don Callis family cannot get involved All Out between Hangman and Kyle. Kyle shouldn't win that, so we need to do something big on Collision and Dynamite to just make you sort of plant seeds of doubt, I suppose. Otherwise, it was the women's tag match. It's a four-way at the pay-per-view. But Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura versus Alex Windsor and Rio. I said this on Ups and Downs as well. It wasn't bad. Like, it was fine. but there was just something missing from it. I always go on social media after the fact, not before. Some people are saying, Rhea hasn't been in the wrestling ring for a while, so maybe she's got some ring rust. Because I'm worrying Walter, I got a bit worried that maybe she got injured, because again, look at someone like Wardlow, best luck to that guy, but it can happen. But that makes sense. You probably do need a couple of matches to get your step back. But it just meant it never reached the heights that I thought it was capable of. But that's a good thing. It means we can do it again at some point, and it probably will. Also, the Alex wins the Mercedes Moné story is weird, because I don't think Rio can win it all out for other reasons we've already talked about. But now, even though they weren't the legal people, she still basically tapped out Mercedes Moné, who was in the ropes. But Mercedes Moné basically beat her clean last week, so I guess we've got to do it again. But it's Rio at the pay-per-view. So maybe Rio is going to win. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. It just felt a bit wishy-washy. And I loved Ricochet versus Shelton Benjamin. There you go. There's your serious match. And we did agree, that no one was allowed to interfere. But surprise, surprise, Gates of Agony interfered. Bobby Lashley and MVP come down. Everybody has a big old brawl. But it's just such a good match. And I'm going to repeat what I said. Shelton Benjamin is an underrated dude from his era. And I think Ricochet actually falls into the same category, which is not necessarily a good thing, because we should be appreciating them more as talents. It was just so damn good. Shelton Benjamin, I think he's almost 50. I don't want to disparage the man, but however old he is, he's brilliant. And Ricochet doesn't get the credit he deserves. One of the best jumps in terms of AEW to WWE or vice versa. Him being allowed to run wild as a heel. He's such an obnoxious asshole in the best possible way. He's so good. And Shelton Benjamin is so good. And they're so good in the ring. I like this. I think I'm a bit worried the Hurt Syndicate may kill them at the pay-per-view, because that's what they do. But if anyone is going to be able to get themselves back over or find the momentum again, it's absolutely Ricochet, who is just brilliant. And it's good for the Gates of Agony as well. Of course, you want to see more of those guys. They're super talented too. So, and it's nice to see new faces. And that's the other reason I don't mind Kyle Fletcher. Sometimes I get mad. You're the TNT champion. Why are you defending that? Like, you're taking a championship away. But no Swerve, no Will, no Omega. You have to move somebody into that position. It is going to be Hangman versus MJF soon, or maybe we do Mark Briscoe. Love the MJF promo, by the way. I'm married to the game first, so sorry, wife. I'm leaving on the wedding day. Commitment to character. 1,000,000 out of 10. The man is brilliant. But yeah, I understand why you want to put Kyle Fletcher into that spot. I think MJF is filming a movie too, which could kind of tie into this. We didn't get the Mark Briscoe stipulation for their match. I don't know if it was ever confirmed for Dynamite, so I don't want to take shots when there is no need. And I like the FTR stuff a lot, because Stokely Hathaway is hilarious, and Cash and Dak as crazy, insane, aggressive people. Don't know who that is. Cash and Dak as crazy, insane people. Why can't I say Dax, for goodness sake? But No Edge and Christian, as I keep calling them, because I'm going to make that mistake anyway, find that a bit. I think they need to be on this show. I need to see them more in the ring with each other, because we had the big brawl last week, and I'm sure they'll do something next week. But they have so much chemistry, obviously, because they are the best of friends and have been for 30 years or whatever it is. I just felt like it needed it, and I was a bit confused that it wasn't there. It's not the end of the world. We've got weeks and months to do this, and maybe they had something else going on. Again, I feel terrible, but it's why you need to always be very open-handed about how we do comment about this stuff. I was like, why aren't we doing something with Wardlow? Because the man is injured. They were probably trying to figure it out and probably hoping it wasn't for the worst. So that makes all the sense. I am baffled by the Unified tournament, the Unified Championship tournament. Love the fact that Michael Oku is in it. Love Michael Oku. Michael Oku's the man. I hope this means he has been signed. Him versus Okada. I mean, flip my gosh. Dream match stuff. But why is Okada in it? Like, it's not really a tournament. Basically, the winner of 3 matches go into a triple threat match. It's just a bit of a wishy-washy situation for me, which could be dumb. I'll hold my hands up there. I think I'm overthinking it, because he's just going to win, and then he has to defend his belt. Again, you want these belts defended on television. They're essentially television titles. But it kind of felt like he should have been one guy, and then you just do the other 2 matches. But then maybe we don't get Michael Oku versus Okada. So you see, there's always ups and downs. And once more, who knows more about that than me? But I did think it was a very easy to watch episode. People are now mad at the ECW arena. Maybe that's the reason numbers are down. Maybe you're right. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the only person to watch AEW Dynamite. I would be, because I want AEW to do well, and WWE and TNA. I want them to sell tickets, and I want them to earn all the money so they can give it back to the wrestlers. But I don't have this power. I don't have this control. I'm just some random bald guy in a room who's very blessed to have somewhat of a platform, although YouTube's trying to kill that at the moment. As long as I enjoy the show, I enjoyed the show. When you get people saying, oh, you did terrible, the show's going to die. Okay, I'd rather it didn't, especially because there are people employed there, and why would you ever wish death on a company? And Tony Khan's plowed so many millions into it and clearly loves it, so I'd like to see him succeed for that sense as well. I think it's good for the wrestling industry, but if it goes, it'd be like, it sucked when Nitro went. Well, no, it did. It did suck when Nitro went. Just the last year of Nitro was so bad. Sometimes people compare the last AEW recently to the last year of Nitro. No, you didn't watch the last year of Nitro. You just didn't. You can't have done. It's brilliant these days because you know the endings. You haven't got to worry about it, and it's hilarious. Like, no DQ matches at the end in DQ. They have a one-on-one match, and another guy wins. He's not even in the match. Shows that are all... Oh, it's awful. That New York show, man. It's just bad. Was it New Blood Rising pay-per-view? There's so much dog on it. Judy Bagwell on a forklift that we'll always go back to. People forget what the story to that is as well, leading up to it. Man, that's some dark, dark stuff. But I quite like watching AEW Dynamite at the moment. I'm not saying that if you do work there from a creative vantage point, depending on what the ratings are going to be tomorrow, that you may not have to look at it and okay, we need to do something different here. Maybe we need to make some changes. But me, Simon Miller, once again, an idiot that gets to talk about this stuff, I'm having a good old time with it. Like the Daniel Garcia turn, like the fact we're having some lighthearted stuff in there because it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. And I look forward to watching it, mostly. You know what I mean? Like you think, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next week. So the Jey Uso thing, amazed, maybe not so amazed, maybe somewhat surprised that people were so sort of hit and miss with that, but it makes me way more intrigued to see what we're going to do with Jey Uso next week and evolve that character. Same with Danny Garcia here. He's coming for a while. We teased it at Forbidden Door. We didn't do it with Nigel McGuinness. That's probably a match you could do now. You could do Daniel Garcia versus Nigel McGuinness at the pay-per-view and Daniel Garcia can win. No disparaging to Nigel McGuinness, of course, but he doesn't need to win matches in terms of where he is at his career. But good Dynamite. Fun Dynamite. I enjoyed it. Nothing to write home about, and they probably need to hit some home runs next week because it is the go-home show. You can't say fairer than that. Or if you want to, you can do it in the comments. Also, please do click the video on the screen, which is me talking about more wrestling. I would massively appreciate that. And interact as much as you can. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. GorillaMind.com/Simon to try out some supplements that ship worldwide. They are the best. And I'm on Patreon.com/Simon316 doing my watch-alongs. And I have a brand new fitness channel where we have talked about Triple H's and The Rock's physique recently. Because how do those pictures even get out there? Maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But, you know, I like to stand on my stupid hills. Otherwise, come follow me on social media at Simon316. Get a TikTok. See me on TikTok and Cameo at Simon Miller and ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller and BigCartel.com and all of that noise. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. I do appreciate you. Put a smile on your face. Whatever wrestling you enjoy, I appreciate it, I respect it, and I hope it is distracting you from the craziness. This bald idiot will see you soon.